Hey everyone, Hurricane Liz here. If you guys don't know me, I am the MC for the Professor's Podcast. And here with me today, I have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Howard Ty. So Howie, we've got an exciting guest today. I know you've known this guy for a while now, but can you just tell everybody the exciting story of how you actually met him? Because it's pretty unusual. You were telling me earlier and I was like, wow, how on earth did that happen that randomly you met this genius who people are going to see here in a second, just randomly? So go ahead and tell us a little bit more about that.
So let me go back like maybe 3 years or so, where I heard about this the software, right? It's called Totallitix, where it can actually kind of dissect the market share and stuff. I won't talk too much because I'll let the guy tell you more about it. But 3 years ago, I've heard of this software. All of a sudden, I had to go to Prague for one of the last event that I had, and all of a sudden at the airport when I was like 3 days earlier or 2 days early for the event, this guy was sitting in the airport, standing there like saying hi and wanted to shake my hand. I'm like, what happened? Who's this guy? So that's actually how I met him. Him himself. So it was really strange. And after that, we went to it was pretty late. We went to the coffee shop, like from the hotel, and we were just sitting there, like we were talking about so much cool stuff, and we're sitting there like hours and hours drinking coffee and talking about all these crazy things that he's working on and crazy stuff that I was working on. So he really liked what I had to share, and I really liked what he has to share. He's a fascinating guy. So
that's amazing. This is totally amazing. It just goes to show how your credibility and your actual reach in the actual Amazon marketplace, of all things, you randomly met somebody at the airport that was able to recognize, hey, this is the man, the myth, the legend, Howard Ty in the airport. And then here we are today, almost, how long ago was that?
I think the event was like March. It was something like March, like March, mid-March, I would say.
A month later, and now you find out all these tremendous things that he's actually been working on. As you guys are going to hear, he's been developing these things for quite some time. So just to remind everyone, we're here talking to the hand-picked speakers that Howie has chosen for his next Professor's Pandemic event, which will be his first ever live online event that you can attend in the comfort of your own home. And I'll give you some more details on how to actually find out more about that event here at the end of the podcast. But first, let's just jump straight in and meet this mystery man who randomly came up to Howie at the actual event. So I'm here with Mr. Netzah Topaz, and I practiced that about 20 times just so I wouldn't butcher it. I'm being known as the butcher of Amazon right now on the internet for butchering all these guest names. But Netzah, I practiced that. You heard me ask you about 10 or 15 times to make sure that I got it right. So let me ask you the first question that I have for you. Let's pretend you are on an elevator with Howard, and he's the man, the myth, the legend, or in this case, you are at the airport with Howard. In 2 minutes, what is it that's so fascinating about you that was able to make him raise his ear up and want to know more about you to the point where now he's dying to have you speak at his event? What is it exactly that you told him? I wish I was a fly on the wall in that incident, but tell me more about yourself and why he's so mesmerized.
Okay, so my name is Netzah, as you said. That was well pronounced. I've started selling in 2016, starting from scratch, just launched a new product. Within, let's say, 3 weeks, I was already on Amazon warehouses, started selling, looking for reviews. I created my own platform to get reviews to help me, and then I just released it to my friends to use it. Again, it was exploded at the end of 2016 and 2017. We made a huge difference to get the product viral on social media. So Paralytics basically does social media exposure and product ranking. And in the last 1 year or so, I joined a group of great people in the e-commerce field that developed Totallitix and Quantify Ninja, where together we are using enormous amount of data to to help seller to trade better. Okay, so Totallitix is for market tracking, which is one of the most important thing on Amazon. Quantify Ninja is about managing the accounts. And what I do marketing and trading by myself, of course.
Apparently, Howie's falling asleep here. So let me ask you something, Netzah. While Howard finishes his nap over there, what do you consider yourself as the foremost expert in when it comes to Amazon? What's your main area of expertise?
Okay, so because I'm doing both SaaS and I'm selling using data, so I can divide it to the marketing hat, and the analytics hat. Those are two heads that I'm moving from one by one. One time I can talk with you about marketing and how to do it outside of Amazon and how to rank products, but I always think about the foundations, about how to get the best decisions based on real data and relevant data. So I can, let's say, data driven marketing and trading together.
Okay, so sorry, my internet was crapping out on me, so I was kind of off there. So also well, no one really knows it, but he's actually. Can you tell us where you're located at?
Yeah, I'm from Israel.
So he's
Right
from
now I'm in
Israel.
Israel.
That's the one of those places where you don't really hear a lot from, like in the Amazon world. But there is a lot of people in Israel. And then there's a lot of they're very smart. The stuff that they do, I've seen and heard about. Some underground stuff too as well. So the question I wanted to ask you, what do you think that you're different in, like the way you think outside the box compared to your other competitors out there?
All right, so everything I learned from one of the most sophisticated sellers that basically developed Totallitix by his own hands. So I can say that the competition view and the bird eye view that we look on the Amazon space, and when we get into a certain niche, and when we view everything that happened in this market, and then we check it 5 years back, and we can, in the last 2 years, we had so many KPIs that we wrote to ourselves what is better and what is less better. And recently, in the last few months, more people are talking about the market environment and how to calculate your market share and to get your attention to this area. But we basically do that for the last 3 years. We do that consistently, every day by day. This is what we look at. This is what we lived in the last few years. So I think that what is different from me to other sellers, other competitors, is how we look at what we do and how we take decisions. I can give you a short example for an emotional actions that sellers take and we don't. Okay, for example, if I have a product that is selling 100 units per day, okay, it sells 100 units day by day. We have the history, we know what to expect, and 1 week we only sold 50 units. Okay, the whole week, 50 units per day, it's a 50% decrease. So I love to ask sellers when we talk, when we present, what would you do when you see something like that? When you get 50% less sales in a certain days. So most of them say, I'm going to lower my price. I'm going to check what's going on. Maybe I went down from the first page, or maybe something different. But the question is how much sales I have in my market. So if my market sold 100%, 1,000 units per day, and I took 100, okay, I'm talking by units to make it more comfortable, but it's mainly it should be said by dollars and how much money actually, but I'll do it with units so it'll be more easy. If the market sold 1,000, I got 100, I have 10% market share. And if in that certain week when I got 50% decrease, the whole market sold 500 and I kept my 10%, so I'm good. I'm not doing anything. I
That's
can
amazing.
follow my competitors and see what they did. So this is a small action that we take day by day for years, and that's how we handle. We are trying to lower the ego as much as possible and take the right decisions when we trade.
That's amazing. There's some things there that I've actually never even really heard, and I consider myself a pretty savvy Amazon seller. So I can clearly see that people can learn a tremendous amount of knowledge from you. So tell me, with that being said, what are 3 to 5 topics that you really think you could talk about that would really wow people out there that are going to participate in this Professor's Pandemic event?
Mm-hmm. All right, so we are going to talk about marketing, data, and what is between them. It means we are going to talk about your competitive environment. How do you compete? How to compete better? We are going to talk about a little bit about PPC and how to use your competitors and other niches to take some PPC actions that you never thought about and never thought taking, and how to use Amazon advertising just like Facebook advertising. That is a little bit, it's a taste, let's say, and it's also based on the competition and about ranking products and how to do it properly inside Amazon and outside of Amazon. Those are
Netzah,
three topics. Yeah.
while you said that, people can't see you that are listening to the podcast, but you had this smirk come on your face that was it's actually a pretty adorable smirk, but it showed how much passion you have for talking about some of this stuff. So I, for one, am truly excited about that. Now, I know that you also mentioned that you worked for one of the most sophisticated Amazon sellers that you'd ever actually had the pleasure of dealing with. What was that like, and how much of what you do in Paralytics is based on what you learned working with this seller?
All right, so the name is Kobe. By the way, Kobe Edry is the developer of Totallitix from scratch. He started doing it using Excel sheets, and today it's all automatic. So he has all the credit about creating Paralytics. And how was it to learn from that view? It was the first time I met him, and he opened Totallitix and he told me how he trades. It's like my mind was poof, and it was 2 years ago. And since that day, I never looked at Amazon the same as I saw it before. Even when I launched my first product, it was amazing. But when I look at what is happening at my market, I just went back to the first products I've launched and I created market for them. And then I saw what's going on. I got the peak of the end of the year, and it was explosion in this market specifically. And I had luck by choosing the right product back then. If I had the information that I learned from this guy back then when I just started selling, that was, I believe I took 90% different decisions about what products to launch, how to price it, how to manage the advertising for those products, and learning from someone that does that day by day, and you see the biggest sellers here in Israel at least, getting his knowledge, using it on their stores, and see the increase by 50, 100%, 200% sales increase each time. I mean, never fail. It's just, it was amazing. It was amazing to learn from someone like that.
Okay, so I wanted to ask about what kind of problems do you see that a lot of Amazon sellers are having in 2020 now regarding the pandemic?
Well, the good news is that in the last 2 days, Amazon just released the option to send back products. So that's one problem that I can say, solved, maybe. But the main issue I can see in 2020, and maybe not only because, but mainly because of the pandemic, is about how do you manage your business 1 year ahead. what is going to happen in the e-commerce field? It's going to explode, or it's going to go down now when everyone is going out? How much inventory you should hold on Amazon? Okay, many of the sellers of the sophisticated sellers are using third-party warehouses. They send inventory to third-party warehouses and sending back to Amazon each time they need to refill. But this time it was wrong. A lot of sellers that was out of stock at the early time of the pandemic. Here in Israel, we already going out, but in the US, it's not even at the peak. So a lot of people went out of stock. A lot of sellers went out of stock. They lost their ranking. They lost the whole credibility of the in front of Amazon. So how do you handle it? If I'm now as a seller that lost one of his stock, I lost my ranking. I'm relaunching the product. I sent the inventory now. I'll get it in 2 weeks. What is going to happen with my sales? Am I going to sell the same as before? How much inventory do I get? Is this product is going to be sold in the new environment that is going to happen? What is going to happen to the camping market, or what is going to happen on essential products? Okay, what people are going to buy? Everything's changed, and I believe this is a main problem for big sellers, and it's a great opportunity for big sellers. Okay, because this unknown can be amazing for sellers who have the money to invest right now, against those who have locked inventories that they invested in at the beginning of the year. They send tons of money to Amazon warehouses, and nothing is being sold right now. I mean, so I have as a business, and I have the advantage over those sellers. Am I going to increase to go to other brands, to other markets, to other niches? I don't know. But this is the main issue that I can see. It's the uncertainty about what is going to happen on my market right now. People are going to buy it or not. Is it going to work in the next few months, or how long does it take?
So Netzah, I know you mentioned that you like to look at things, and most people don't do this, a year in advance and sort of get an idea for what could happen to your business in a year. And I know that you've had the ability to look at a ton of different markets through using all these tools that you use. And my question to you is, what kind of problems do you see for Amazon businesses beyond 2020? I'm talking about in the next 18 months. Do you see any kind of ripple effect because of the pandemic, or do you see things getting better?
Other problems to the next 18 months. I actually, when I take a look on everything that is happening right now, is that huge amount of new sellers are about to join in the next few months. Okay, you can see that tons of products, I mean, of new sellers that just launched their products, if they are going to be launched, if they should be launched since the end of 2019, and they waited because of the Christmas, and then the pandemic just started, and the end of the limitations of Amazon. So we are going to get product launches of 5 whole months in the next 3-4 months, and it means a lot of competitors in many different markets. Trends that we had on a certain time. So one time it was the garlic presser, and then it was the watermelon slices. So everything is going to come back together. We are going to see some explosion on some markets of people that find the same opportunities at the same time. Let's say on January, everyone is going to launch the products right now. So 18 months in advance, if I'm looking for main issue, I can definitely see the competition is rising. Okay, and again, if I'm thinking about the opportunities that they have at the same time, those are big sellers that have the ability and more tools as brand registered sellers, brands that they have the experience and they can play in the market. But you must see everything before you take any action. So you need to see who are the competitors, how much get in, and how you can win them based on the advantage that you have on Amazon, the advantage that you already have on Amazon.
So I know you've said this before, like the opportunities that big sellers could have for the pandemic. How about, can you give me more in detail on what other opportunities that you see Amazon sellers are seeing during the pandemic? What kind of other opportunities?
Okay, so what opportunities do I see during the pandemic? It's as I see it is obviously the ranking opportunities when huge sellers are out of stock and with the right PPC, with a small PPC budget and a small promotion with a minimum amount of units that you can promote. You just conquer the first pages one by one for any main keyword, especially for markets that have not sold anything in the last few months. So if I take a look on the camping category, when that went down by 95 to 98% in sales. So you take your advantage, you drive your traffic, you make more sales on your end, and you just conquer the first page one by one. The bids are way more lower. So when everyone is going out, now you have established your foundations to conquer the market in the rest of 2020. Other opportunities that I actually see and feel, those sellers that just gave up and they are selling their accounts with their brands, with their trademarks, with their inventory in prices that it's just a shame not to buy. So if someone is losing this money and he's basically in a crisis, you can first help him go out of this crisis. And if you have enough money to buy the store with the inventory and with the trademark, you can just go in and dive to another market and expand your business as Amazon seller with 50% less effort and time that you need to wait. And the branding is everything is completed. You just buy and start selling if you have the expertise. And I can see a lot of them that is hovering. There are a few websites where sellers offering their stores for sale, and you can see the prices and the amount of units, and looks like a lot of sellers just gave up this pandemic. So you have low competition. So you can just take advantage of people that you can buy it in a competitive price, win the competition with a lower price that you can offer, at least the first stock, and then you just roll on with the brand if it's working. If it's not working, you can give up on it, but you already got your money back. So sellers that actually have the money and think about what doing it, it's a great time to expand yourself on Amazon.
Right. So Netzah, that's great to actually know for the people that are actually paying attention and are educating themselves and continue to do things like go to events, just like you do. But for the people that don't, I recently actually heard about this. I'm not sure if you did, Netzah, but Amazon is now requiring Zoom interviews in order to allow people to even get an Amazon account. And I have an actual friend that just told me that he has a Zoom interview scheduled with Amazon next week. But my question to you is, do you think things like this are going to weed out serious or less serious sellers and make this a playground for the people that go to events and pay money for education and extra training? Is that what you see with the future of Amazon?
Definitely, yes. The change was happening it was not only since the Zoom interviews. I can see the change on Amazon since 2017, at the middle of 2017, where they don't want the small sellers anymore. They don't want those who are taking the $1,000-$2,000 and they getting some product that a lot of other sellers got it the opportunity, so called, and try to launch new product without any trademark, without brand registry. So you have a lot of people competing on the regular PPC without using sponsor brands. The big sellers are about to take over Amazon, and it's changing itself from a products catalog that anyone can post any product he wants to a trading arena. Basically, you need to be a professional trader to understand how to trade online, how to manage your inventory. You are an exporter and importer, you are a marketer, and you need to be everything that a business needs to be. And if you don't invest in education, and if you don't invest in expand yourself as a businessman, as a business in general, and if you don't expand yourself with knowledge as a student. So it's not a place for people. If you want to succeed on Amazon, you must leverage yourself and you must develop yourself into a better businessman, into a better trader, and as a person as well. So yes, I think it's going to be conquered by the bigger sellers, and it's going to be very interesting to see that. I'm waiting for that for a long time.
So, I want to go back to what you were saying about the big sellers going to buy out these like small little sellers that gave up because of their mishandling of their accounts, or because of the pandemic they kind of gave up on it. But that's opportunity for the big sellers. That's what I was looking at too, where we saw some big opportunities where people are giving up their whole brand and everything, and just like at 10% of the value of it. That's a lot of money out there that you can work on.
Mhm.
As well as if you are a big seller and you know how to rank, you know how to get reviews, you know all the A to Z's. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good for that. All right, so I wanted to ask, do you have any final say to our audience here before we leave?
Yeah, first of all, good luck to everyone. In 2020 is going to be a very interesting year. Amazon is a great opportunity. Don't stop to invest your time and effort in educate yourself and try to learn. If they got so far, it means they eager to learn. So I believe we are talking to the right people. Don't stop do that. Don't stop listening. Don't stop learning. Get any piece of knowledge you get. I learned from Howard a lot. In 3 days in Prague, I learned a lot of things that I never thought to look at, even though we are in the same field, and never stop doing that. That's what I have to say. It's a great opportunities. Learn, educate yourself, and conquer the market.
Well,
Amazing.
one thing before you say anything, because I think what Netzah is talking about is learning. That's what we are talking about here. It's the PPE. Is how to learn from others and how to leverage, because you have to improve yourself. You have to up yourself, gain, level up. So that's why we're here to educate and hope that anyone can come in and join us on the PPE event. And go ahead, Liz.
Amazing. That was fantastic. Great point, Howie. And that was really truly eye-opening for me. And I know for a lot of people that are listening, they're going to be super pumped about some of the information you gave them and some of the tips, because let's face it, not all of us have had the pleasure of being able to work for sophisticated high-level sellers. And it's quite an education. I would pay tens of thousands of dollars for that. Yet a lot of people are throwing their money away at college and not really learning from people that have they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. So amazing. And thank you so much for sharing your tremendous knowledge. I know there's a couple actual action steps that I got from this actual podcast. I'm going to go ahead and implement them immediately in my Amazon business. And I know that people out there will probably feel the same way. So if you'd like to hear more from this gentleman, including any one of those 3 to 5 topics that he mentioned, then I encourage you to go to the a9mastermind.com/PPE. And again, that site is a9mastermind.com/PPE, where you will find all the details on the Professor's Pandemic event, which again is Howard's first ever virtual online summit that's going to talk about all that's going on Amazon and the strategies and tactics that are working right now in 2020 and beyond. And again, it's very different from his usual $12,000 per person tickets that are done in Mexico. We just had one in Mexico, and I can say this much. We had this event maybe about 3 months ago, right, Howie? And we discussed the pandemic. And can you tell people a little bit about what we talked about there during the pandemic, and we kind of foreshadowed what's already happened?
We're saying that a lot of sellers would have problems with inventory, and we were talking about like a lot of Chinese sellers, especially when there were some problems with logistics. Currently, logistics cost is expensive right now for air shipment, and a lot of custom problem because everything is getting rushed into customs. They're slower, even going into FBA itself because of the lack of resources. even USPS is slower. So a lot of things are slowing down, and if maybe you can think about maybe importing or even getting local suppliers within the U.S. to be like supplements or beauty and other things like that, which is still a lot of people are still buying from the U.S. So that's something that we're talking about.
Absolutely. And I can say this much. We had a genius comment actually made at that mastermind. It was by Howie's lovely wife, Kat, who actually told everybody merchant fulfill. She said merchant fulfill. And right now, anybody that's merchant fulfilling is making a killing. And I will say this, Kat says she knows nothing about Amazon, yet we were able to acquire knowledge from her that is probably making some people millions and millions of dollars. In fact, Howie showed us on his Facebook post the other day, the total amount of sales for one particular seller, merchant fulfilling. What was that total in that single day, Howie?
I believe it was like $300,000 a day.
$300,000. Well, Kat, I'm sure that guy owes you dinner and a heck of a lot more. And everyone out there, if this is something that you'd like to participate in, being able to pick the minds of geniuses like Netzah and the dozens of other speakers that are actually going to be speaking at this event. We don't have an exact total yet, but to get more information on that event, go to a9mastermind.com/PPE. I look forward to seeing you all there. I'm excited to MC the event. At the last event in Mexico, one single tip that I learned on there has all my products ranking on page one, number one, if they want to. It's almost effortless with the information that was shared there. So I look forward to seeing you all there. And Howie, any final words before we say goodbye?
Oh, that's it.
Amazing. So again, a9mastermind.com/PPE. Thank you so much, Netzah. And we'll see you all on the next episode.
Amazing.
All right. That was awesome.